Hello and welcome to yet another video. This video is about the Dutch language. It doesn't really matter if you're learning it or not. This video is for anyone who wants to know a little bit about the Dutch language, because we know a lot about how French sounds, how Spanish sounds, how Italian sounds, but we don't often know a lot about what the Dutch language really sounds like. And so I decided to come up with a fun video in which I discuss some of the weirdest sounds in the Dutch language and of course how to produce them. So the first one that you'll hear a lot when you hear a Dutch person speaking is the sound. It can get pretty strong. For example, if we're just trying to say good morning, it sounds like an attack. It sounds like goedemorgen. Goedemorgen. So there's two sounds in there. The same for a lot of the other exclamations for like good night. If it's like past midnight, we say goedenacht, goedenacht. So there's this sound again. Also, for anything I say in the past, if I say something like I bought a dress or I have been to the beach, you hear the sound again. So for example, if I want to say yesterday I bought a dress, gisteren heb ik een jurk gekocht. Or yesterday I went to the beach, gisteren ben ik naar het strand geweest. So quite intense. Now, how do I actually produce this sound? The sound is produced in my throat, and it's when you're drinking water, but you're actually gargling it, it would be like gu 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 gu. This is exactly where the sound is produced. So instead of doing gu, we try to scrape it and we do. I noticed that after many classes of Dutch, me teaching Dutch, sometimes I feel it a little bit, but you get used to it. The second sound I want to mention is the sch sound. It sounds really similar. The only difference is that it starts with an S. So it's sch. So think of ship, which would be schip, or sheep, which would be schaap. Schip, schaap, scheef. Those are some of the words that you hear in the Dutch language. Now, be careful if it's at the end of a word, we don't pronounce it like that. We actually just pronounce it like S. Like, for example, romantisch, logisch, praktisch, pragmatisch. Yeah, so at the beginning, it sounds like an attack, but at the end, it actually sounds like a normal S, romantisch. Now, sound number 3 I want to highlight is the W sound. Now, if I ask a question in Dutch, it's very likely it starts with a W, like, for example, where, when, who, those words. Now, how do we pronounce them in Dutch? They're like waar, wie, wanneer, waarom. So if you notice my lips, it's actually, what happens is that my lower lip touches my teeth and it becomes waar, wie, waarom. So it's really different from the English W, which is w, and this is the. So that's what is a difference between the two languages. And that's what sounds a little bit strange at the beginning for those that speak English, but don't speak any Dutch yet. So waar, wie, waarom. And you don't have to look like a bunny, like a waar, but you just get used to it and the movement becomes smaller and smaller. Waar, wie. Yeah. Okay, sound number 4 that is a little bit weird is oh. I kind of feel like a seal. It's like oh, or like a dog, I guess. But this is definitely a sound that we use in the Dutch language. For example, if we're trying to say nose, it's neus, neus. And giant is reus. So neus, reus, deuk. Those are some of the words that you can hear in the Dutch language. Now, be careful because sometimes it sounds like for example, if it's followed by an R. Deur, Europa, euro. Yeah, which is easier to pronounce than the seal sound. Yeah, but Europa, euro, and deur. Okay, which brings me to the next sound. A lot of words in the Dutch language end in en. For example, lopen, werken, eten, mannen, pennen, rennen. However, we don't really pronounce it like that. When we speak at a normal speed and with other native speakers, we don't pronounce the N and the E sounds like a. So we say lopen, eten, werken, mannen, pennen, rennen. So this is one of those things that people that learn the Dutch language need to get used to. They're like, what? Where did the N go? Well, yeah, we just decided to speak fast, don't pronounce the N and pronounce the last E as an E. Lopen, werken, rennen, eten. It's easier, right? So that's what we do. However, if the N is pronounced, we also find it normal. If someone says werken, lopen. Yeah, but it takes more effort, takes more time. So that's why we don't do it. The next sound is quite a difficult one. Ui. Ui. So ui actually means onion. So I sometimes tell my students, make it look like you're eating an onion. Ui. Ui. Okay, and it's in a lot of Dutch words like uit eten gaan, ruim, koud, ui. Kuif. Yeah, so those are some of the words that have this sound ui. Okay, so think of the onion and the other sound o was like a seal or a dog. Okay, so the next sound is actually in my name, which is I. And a lot of people struggle with my name because they see the E and the I combined, and I think that it becomes E or I. So they either say Marjolein or they say Marjolein, which is not what it's like. It's actually pronounced like a short I, but not in the throat, in the mouth. So instead of it sounding like I, it sounds like I. So I don't really use my throat, I just use my mouth. And that's really, really, really common in Dutch, for Dutch sounds, that is just pronounced in the mouth. I. So we have two letter combinations that sound like I. It's the EI and the IJ. So two letter combinations that sound the exact same way. I don't know why we came up with two ways to write the sound, but that's the truth. So the EI is kind of like German, you know, that's how it's spelled. And the other one, yeah, we just combine the I and the J and it becomes I. So we have a lot of words like that. You have hij, zij, wij, mijn, zijn. Yeah, so this is a sound that is really easy to make if you already know how to say I. You just make it a little bit shorter and in the mouth, I. Those were all the sounds I wanted to highlight today. Of course, there's so many more things I could say about the Dutch language, but I just wanted to make a short and fun video for you to be introduced to this language that you might not know anything about. So that's it for today. Go ahead and watch one of my other videos about language learning and see you soon.